Welcome everyone to the LinkedIn Power Lab webinar. Today is Monday, the 11th of January 2021, the first in this year. And the topic for today is how to use LinkedIn in 2021. And as typical in this series, once per month, I would like to share what I learned about LinkedIn as a practitioner and what then we can use also in the future. So the way how that works for me, a little bit of an introduction for those who don't know me yet. My name is Gunnar, that actually is Swedish. I am Swiss, and I came to Australia a bit more than 4 years ago. And the first time I've ever seen Sydney was actually already earlier in 2016. So by my role, I'm a social media consultant. That also is my passion. I'm blogging about social selling. I created 3 online courses, and I will talk about this later. And I also published a range of books. And therefore, as a published author, I also like to meet with fellow other book authors. And here we have, for example, Jane Jackson, who published a book a couple of years ago about navigating career crossroads. And the recent edition just came out. She's living not far away in Mosman. Actually, I think, Jacqueline, from your point of view, you're both in the same suburb and both published at the same publisher. So the world is very small. And as I've done and created a review about your book, Jacqueline, same I've done also recently for Jane. And she actually also helped me. I've been part of her program, and that helped me to find my dream company, which actually is true. So then that was this. So what I would like to show today, how to use LinkedIn in 2021. And the way how these webinars work, I normally take 3 subtopics of the main story to talk about. First of all, 2021 is all about planning what you would like to achieve, because it's not the same as what we have done last year. It's different compared to January 2020. And the next one is produce converting content. That is a very critical part of using LinkedIn. And it's not just only about to be there, but to be there active. And that's the way how we can stand out. So far by the stats, it's still less than 2% of all active members who are truly active. So what actually do these active members mean? So LinkedIn has about 11 million accounts here in Australia. This means nearly half of the population. Half of them are active, which is a bit more than 5 million, maybe 5.5. And then you can count how many of them are really truly working on this and doing a lot about this. It's not that many. So therefore, we still have a chance to really stand out using content which converts. And the third topic is perform regular activities. And you see maybe a little bit of a passion which I have, and that stands for 3 times using the same letter. And the number 3 also goes through this presentation. So let's look into this topic. First one would be about plan, what we would like to achieve. Many of us are on LinkedIn passively, or they're trying to be active, but didn't find yet the right way how to do this. So then therefore I would like to look into this a bit more in detail. And for these 3 topics that I have for today, there is always one question first that I would like to ask you to give me a couple of answers directly in the chat. So when it comes to planning, as you plan for your business on paper, in the computer, in whatever, you might have a plan of your activities for the year, about events in the year, anything like this. So my question, do you have a social media calendar in place for 2021? Do you have a social media calendar in place for 2021? Question to you, if you could write in the chat. So my answer, I have guided plan, but a couple of no's. Yeah, I can, with the recording, I can send a template for that. Interesting to read. So some are posting videos twice a week. That's good. Something every week. It's fine to get consistency on it. Yeah, Alicia, I know that you went to Perth. I've seen that. So that's good. So then your content calendar will have a different time zone, but still, overall, it's good to plan what we would like to achieve. So that's good. Shirley, very well done. You respond to posts that you do. And I've seen this. Appreciate that, actually. So planning is, of course, important, because otherwise we realize, oh, January is over. Didn't we want to promote something? Didn't we want to talk about something? And that actually is what I would like to show you. So when we look into the topic of planning, we also should understand that we are now in January 21 and not in January 2020 anymore. So it makes sense to review what actually happened last year. And the best way for me to do this is to look into the social media trends. According to the Global Trend Survey of Hootsuite, the leading social media management platform, and actually Hootsuite is my dream company and I'm happily working there as my main job. So what we see, there's 5 trends for 2021, and some of them we can maybe take from that. So first of all, the race for the return on investment. I think the time is over that mid-sized and larger companies are just only using social media to share something, to post something, or to engage. So they rather look into return on investment. How much time and effort and labor is spent on social media, and how can this be quantified and provided with a proper return on investment that can come in various areas, in particular also in customer experience. The second one is an interesting one. I like the term, silence is golden. So brands find their place in conversations, because so far that does not really happen well enough. There are areas which are classified, for example, as UGC, user-generated content. Think about all the TripAdvisor or other reviews that people do. Brands are normally not taking place there. 97% of content by users is unbranded. So there will be a lot more what's coming. So we need to jump there as well. And there's an interesting one. When I see who's all on the call, many of us might be from, let me call it, middle generation, those just after the famous millennials. And those have been very often ignored on social media when it comes to a programmatic approach, but that is not proper. So then the research shows that this generation, the Gen X, where I'm also part of that, is totally ignored by digital marketers because they're typically younger. And that is good because we have a bit more also the spending power for that. So then there will be more content relevant to us and not necessarily only for the Gen Zs. And the fourth one, do I know you? The question of how can we engage with people when it's just about the number? I strongly believe I'm not on LinkedIn to be a collector of followers or contacts, but rather a connector to bring people together. When I attended a range of meetup events from Jacqueline writing her book, then I thought there's another meetup of a publisher called N2. So I like to connect the people, not just to say I attend to meetup events. So that is something that is very important for me. So then engage with people and get them together. So that is for me an important thing. Stay in contact with them, because otherwise, Alicia, you would not join this webinar today because you stopped working at my former company, Cloud Recover, before even I started. But we kept someone in contact. That's what I like. So then we can have this also on LinkedIn to nurture and ensure that engagement helps to go further and to get in momentum. And of course, also, typically brands ignored social media too much. So then at Hootsuite, we believe social media finally got the space at the boardroom. It is not just a marketing question. And it's more, they should go into the front lines of social. And 2020 has been the year when this has been proven, when first-time organizations and government organizations in particular, and universities, they all had to communicate to reach their target audience. And social media was one of them. So it's interesting trends that are going on. And then we take this further. So the study is quite long. I picked another 5 points by myself from reading the material of 2021. And they are: companies are asked what is their main target, particularly small to medium businesses. They said 73% are interested in getting more customers. So that is a very critical point to find more people. The next one, social media should be more practical than before. In the year 2020, particularly when the pandemic started, many experienced with other areas, Pinterest, Snapchat, TikTok, all of these platforms. But in the meantime, the research shows that companies and small businesses, they found out what is the best way for them to use which platform. And now is not the time to experience anymore. Now we need to help that we get our economy back on track. So then we use what we know. LinkedIn is one of them, the best one when it comes to professional network. And also important topic is the need to personalize the content and experience. So you would potentially want to share an offer with your audience, but instead of posting that people can only buy this and say 10% discount, it's more about talking about the experience and then personalize the immediate need for the members, because it can be a completely different way how this content might be, or the service might be consumed when I compare Jacqueline and Olin. So then the personalized approach is very important. And I already mentioned the return on investment. So interesting enough, from the organizations, mid-sized organization onwards, 68%, they're able to quantify the return on investment of social media. Large companies, of course, they have teams for this, or they have agencies for this, so have cost associated, but they can also already find out what is the gain from that in terms of faster information, in terms of better network building. So then that is the way that, particularly on the smaller side, when it comes to entrepreneurs and small companies, we need to consider this as well. And actually, what I like, because I'm writing for 112 weeks in a row about the topic social selling, it means how to use LinkedIn to turn conversations into winning clients, that this is a trend that maybe 5-6 years started on enterprise side, which now really comes into small business and they're excited about it. And that is what I really, really like. So then, how can we plan? And for me, this is a topic that is that means we need to first look into social listening. We need to know what we actually want to listen about, and then we can turn this into winning activities. And that for me is a critical point. Social listening is a word which is not that well known for entrepreneurs or small businesses. There are even software tools for this. Imagine a university has a trouble and would like to know about the sentiment, how that is turning from positive consideration into negative because something happened. So there are software tools for social listening. In an easy way, you can find out about a topic on Twitter, what people are talking about. So that way, that would work as well. So that is a type of social listening, what I mean here. But in general, from our point of view, important for social listening is just to find out our target audience. How does this target audience want to be reached? How does this work? What they would like to do? How can you find them? When can you engage with them? So let's look this as an example of the typical funnel with the words of tofu, mifu, and even bofu. So that is the top of the funnel, middle, and the bottom. They are the customers. You could also maybe take the famous AIDA model that also goes down and can even have something more below. Below the customers would be then maybe loyalty, because the customer, once they signed up for something, they might be interested in even getting more. So the loyalty approach and renewal of contracts is an important one, or even land and expand. So let's plan that. First of all, when it comes to LinkedIn for 2021, now it's really the time, if not done yet, to find out how we can describe ourselves in our LinkedIn profile. So typically, many people would write managing director at Gunnar Consulting, for example, the role at the company. I strongly believe it's better to see it from the reader point of view. What do you do to help whom to achieve what? So then when I've been in risk management, I really wrote about this, to help consultants manage disruptions faster, something like that. And then I can still do put the title on for the keywords that it works, but have in mind from a reader point of view what we do. Disrupt them. The headline, which is exactly what I mean, used to be 120 characters long. It is now 220 characters long since middle of last year. So then there's no excuse that we cannot really put a little bit more on and surprise them. We can even put some kind of little emojis or symbols on there. And then when we have done that, then comes the impressive summary written in the first person. Many professionals still show LinkedIn in the third person, where they write about themselves as if it was from outside. But particularly in an age where we have so many people, so many competing coaches and consultants, for example, it's better to get this language out, who we are, how we would talk to our potential clients. So therefore in the first person, but not 2 pages long. Maybe 4 paragraphs would be good to show also some type of results, what we already have done, whom we help, and what does it lead to. That's an important point as well. Below is in the meantime not just rich media, but it's called featured section. We can even declare existing post or other content and say that now is the featured area. For example, if you would like to promote an event or something, and then you take it off and put something else on there to give for those who are every now and then going on the profile to always have a little bit of a change. But important and really critical. LinkedIn has the beauty that it is one-stop shop where everyone knows what sits where, unlike a website. So then it is so important that when people scan this, skim it through, that they see that's a genuine person. That's a person we would like to do business with. So this personality needs to come through, therefore it's called personal brand. So that's about the profile. Once we have done that, and we can consider to further reach out to those that we would like to have in our network, meaning existing clients, prospective clients, suppliers, or partners, affiliates, even competitors, market companions. So then let's look into the topic of content. So the question is what we actually would like to write and how long. Curated versus created content. The difference being curated means I find something somewhere. Let's say these 2020 trends from Hootsuite. I took it and then I shared it with my network, adding a lot of my own comments instead of just sharing from externally. To make it relevant, why I take something from outside of LinkedIn or what sits on LinkedIn with someone else, take it and share it with my network. Or alternatively, I create content. We're coming to this. Need to think about the length and frequency. How often do we like to post? How often is our audience there? Typical thing about this when it comes to timing, I remember when I've been working with Deloitte, there was one of their risk managers or partners for safety risk, and he has been researching every time on Saturdays about the topics. He really liked that. The only thing, his audience has not been either on LinkedIn, or if so, then they might wait in the queue at the barbecue for the mate or something like that, and they're not in the mood for that. So he should rather take a scheduling platform like Hootsuite, so that then the content goes out when it's needed. Important for content to be ready to engage quickly. Many people forget that they don't do anything about that. Yeah, thank Olin, you're right. If you think that communication is all talking, you have not been listening. The funny thing is, it needs a bit of both. If we have 2 people who are listening, and even that on social media, and nobody is producing content, then we listen about the different topics that we don't see. But if all are only talking, then of course it makes no sense. And without social listening, how would I write? How would I know what I should post when I have no chance to listen before what is needed? So, and then for me, the question on the content, does this content guide my prospective clients through the funnel? If somebody sees it, they come at the top of the funnel, they go through, then I can nurture them, because only in 97%, better to say in 3% of the time, people are ready to buy. The other 97% of the timeline, I need to nurture them. So I need to have content for nurturing. I need to have sometimes content that is for those which are ready to engage on it, to act on it. But important, critical here, set the targets and measure them. So this is how I get into the early of the year to put these type of thoughts together, put it on paper. I have a social media content calendar that I can use in Excel form, which is quite good. And then some of the other topics I write. As an example, I'm posting every Monday morning about social selling, all the time in the morning. Typically it has 4 tips, very practical, that people can do something with that. And consistency is key. So I do this for 112 weeks in a row, which is more than 2 years. This consistency of posting social selling got me my current role at Hootsuite. Sometimes I write other topics which are not just about the business, but maybe personal development, and they come on Sunday. when the mood is not work, but maybe learning to become better. So, but then we talk about produce. For me, content is not king, as many people would say. Content is prince, but context is king. So need to be all in context. So question to you, what is your preferred approach? Curating content, meaning you take something what you find and share it, or is it creating content? What is your, if you can answer in the chat, I'm curious. What is your preferred approach? Curating or creating content? Yeah, surely you curate because you have great sources of content. I know that from all of your not-for-profit and academic sources. That's good. Wayne is writing. That's nice. Adam, when they are curating. Yeah, Adam, you have also good sources, and people are looking to what you write on the travel site. When you're creating, I like that. Yeah, Caroline, I really like your comment, what you write. I mostly create content, but when I see something worth sharing, I will share it with commentary. Well done, exactly, love that. And Dimi, you are creating very well as well. I follow that, so I'm happy to engage on that. By the way, when we create content and we have people who we know that would like to see this, and they then comment on it, it's not only good for us, but also it helps that in the future those people see this even more. So that's very good. Thanks for this. That's interesting. So it's a bit more, let's say 60-40 for creating. For me personally, it used to be maybe 80% curating 2-3 years ago. Therefore, I could put everything in the calendar in Hootsuite on Sundays for the whole week and only jump in between with creating content. But in the meantime, it's rather the other way around, maybe 60-40 for creating. And I like it quite a lot. So it's not about the number of posts that you do. You can plan some of the content when you have product launches or you have, you know that you close a project and you get testimonials from this, you can plan that. But sometimes we have content that comes also spontaneously. So the content formats, what we can actually do. So 3 formats that you would expect here. One of them is a LinkedIn article, which is not so common anymore, but it is a good way how we can showcase our experience. So then I have maybe, I think 9 or 10 articles overall. This year has been the first one that I ever published with my first infographic. It took quite a while, and my first attempt to create something with Canva, which is one of the 2 greatest Australian software vendors. So then the importance gets reduced, but it's a good way to show expertise also that you can formulate nicely. Particularly for coaches and consultants, it's good to have some of them. And then comes a typical post, which used to be called the status update, which is the main vehicle of the LinkedIn content. Can be done with images or without. Typically, people would use a photo, but in my view, real life pictures work the best in terms of that people stop by, and a stock image less. But if you don't have anything and the content might require some kind of visuals, then it's a good idea to get free royalty pictures from unsplash.com to have something nice. Can be some eye-catching image, can be even provocative, or otherwise, when you have a great following that are ready to engage even without a picture, then do this as well. And the third one is of course video, and video came in about 2017-18, has been very popular, where people created video sitting in a car, sometimes even driving, which I think is a bit too dangerous. Mostly people have been shaking, they didn't even have a tripod or anything. It was not so nice to watch from a viewer point of view, and they were missing the captions. And here you see on this example, I added captions from a company called raving.com. That is $1.25 US per minute. When you have maybe a 2-minute video, it's not that much. It's worth doing this because not everyone has sound switch on. Despite that many people now work from home, that's a bit more easier, but not everyone has that. So then that would be the way to add the captions. So the other three, and I'm not sure if you tested any of them. So the first one is document feature. So the documents, I've been using this for the first time when Jacqueline, you invited me to your writing meetup, and I had the chance to showcase this one together with Andrew. So then I had a range of the slides, only 10 out of these, whatever, 30 I shared, and put them on to LinkedIn. So you can basically scroll through. They are saved there like JPEG images, and that gets a high engagement, much better than just normal posts. So that's great because it is, let's say, like succeeding the article format. It's a good way to show something concrete. In ideal case, don't make the fonts too small. So a good example, Demi, this is what you shared over the last couple of weeks. You created some of them. I think you even took them in a square format instead of normal PowerPoint, and they look very nice. It's nice colors to make a point of 5 or 6 of the documents. Well done. Really like that. Maybe if you allow, I would like to share one of those posts together with the recording of the call. That would be good. So the other one are polls. Polls have been introduced early in 2020, and that is an interesting way to learn from the audience. But we should not overdo this. So here's one that was not me, but when it came out, Sue Parker has done them, and she got 510 votes. That's a lot. Only the organizer can see who answered what. And the participants don't see, they only see the trend. And here, particular, she asked back then what's the #1 content preference on LinkedIn, and that was in favor for text posts with and without images, but not video and not articles, in particular not the audio only. So it's interesting to use them. I suggest you do this maybe once per month to get some content out in terms of a poll, because it helps you. You can find out what type of content your audience would like to see, what type of maybe other document or even ebook you would like to create. And then the third one here are LinkedIn stories. Not sure if any one of you is using them. So stories, you know them from Facebook, from Instagram. LinkedIn came with this as well. Quite similar, a bit shorter, only 24 seconds and visible only for the day. You would have, when you see them, they used to be just below the top bar. In the meantime, they come when you scroll through. You can put your own story, like in my case, I would press on the button there. Then it would be the company page if you have one, like in my case here as well, because I can post on behalf of my company page, and that's the way how to go through this with the stories. So I personally like them more on Facebook side. I'm not a fan of content going out so fast. But anyway, the critical thing here, and Caroline, you made this point quite clear from your experience, commenting helps to win engagement on LinkedIn. So for me, it's a total underrated strategy to gain followers and raving fans. So you can really use this on any post. If it's created or created, doesn't matter. First, you use the right timing. When your audience is there, that's critical. So at the beginning of the slide, you saw these image with Jane Jackson writing the book review. A year ago, I made a mistake to post it before I went to bed, before midnight. The next morning, I realized no engagement, nobody sees it because it was simply too early. Didn't work out, it was not too good. So the timing is important, because then what you want to have is to gain comments, to gain views and likes. And the comments in particular, they really help also to spread it further. In the past, until mid of 2020, you would need to do this based on the first 2 hours to be really active. In the meantime, LinkedIn created something called dwell time, meaning how long people are sitting on a piece of content, and it can last longer. So not just this immediate window. You can multiply, you can share, tag, and send your post to those who will comment on it to tap into their networks. You can tag people that they comment, that they know about, or you can take the post itself, not to waste real estate in it, and then you can make this available and share it with others, maybe even in a direct engagement. And of course, it helps to grow. I found my professional voice in a sales environment in Australia by commenting, carefully selecting who are the people I would like to comment on, and that's how that worked quite well. The third one is about to perform. If you have any question, please let me know. So in the meantime, I saw some, but thanks that Jacqueline, you already answered Dimi as well, so that's very nice. Just seeing here, Barb, you mentioned about you like to try more about curating. Yeah, that's possible. That's good because there's good content out there that you can use. One of the sources which I like beyond typical news sites like ink.com or Forbes, I also look into medium.com. That's one. It's the world's largest blogging website, created by one of the Twitter co-founders who thought that 140 characters is actually not enough. It's really nice. It's good to find great content over there and to bring this further in it. So yeah, and Dimi, you're right. Commenting is a game changer. It truly is, and that's and you even commented on the CEO of Hootsuite. So well done, brave lady. Well done. That's very good because that's why we're here for. Comments are basically the salt in the soup. So when we want to perform, my question is, do you have a regular time slot for your LinkedIn activities? Because you might not be there all the time. Do you have a regular time slot for your LinkedIn activities per day? So my times are, I think, 4/7 for those who know me, but of course that's a joke. But typically I would say, yeah, Wayne, that's nice with the VA. At least you can get the time with the VA. So realistically for me, morning before work, lunchtime, afternoon, evening. Like when handling your emails, you do not handle email just as it arrives. You get your work done, and then you have maybe time slots in between to get rid of the administrative part of following up on emails, and then you do again some real work. So then, same what I believe makes sense here as well. When most of us would go to an office, in a face-to-face office, then of course, particularly when being on public transport is an easier approach to make that happen. But now when working from home, many people associate that time more into work itself. So, but I still stick to this very early in the morning, after dinner for sure, and then 2 or 3 times during the day. But I would always say I'm living in LinkedIn. So, but how to do this? Time matters. So many people post nice content, even they get responses, but they don't know about it because they simply do different things. And you do not want to and should not immediately just go after this, but put some kind of follow-up structure in place. Because if on the whole day you do not react on something, people write, and then they normally go on in their day or do something else. So then getting something more on in that time is quite needed. So therefore, I always say schedule time when I really posted something important, where since the pandemic, the morning posting seems to be more engaging than the afternoon posting. So then for me, that's important. Here's an example of commenting on posts, what I do as well to ensure that if you see the right-hand picture, there was Danica who commented on my post and I commented on her comment. And then Yuri wrote a comment on my post and I've done, so that it looks like some kind of always reply. Not that I do have to have the last word, not at all, but at least it's also kind of fair when they already take the time and effort to write something. We should at least say thank you. And sometimes I even put other people in there to get a dialogue up and running. Like we can see also there, Tom put a comment, you don't see mine, then Heidi answered on that one despite it was on my post, and we get the discussion ongoing. So it shows us being active and responsive on what we're doing, and also the engagement increases while it's fresh. Still on the day, latest we should do something. And sometimes I get leads inside who say, "Ah, that sounds good. How can I get the new plan on Hootsuite?" Then we can answer. But what else can we do? Not just commenting. The difficult thing these days is that the email inboxes are often full, and getting through emails is quite difficult. I learned recently that text messages, and that is now a statistic coming from the USA, by 93% are opened very quickly within an hour. If you get an email, do you open this within an hour? Maybe not, because you get so many. But on SMS, it really works. So recently I looked into even a text bot, which is artificial intelligence to communicate with SMS. Love that. So there is a way to disrupt. Imagine you would send a fax, for those who still have it. That would be a surprise. You get attention, or a personal letter. But even on LinkedIn, the LinkedIn inbox is not a proper one. That's a tricky thing here over there. The only thing how you filter is if you read it or not. You don't have any better chance. So then when you see that somebody writes to you, think, oh, I can surely do later in the day, I can surely answer. Somebody else is writing. So what we do then? Let's visually show our message. So first of all, we can use voicemail. So we can simply on the mobile version of LinkedIn, Android or iOS with Apple, then at the bottom there is this recording button. Press on it and get a 60-second message through, and that comes as a blue bar, as you can see here. The alternative, when you have this little tiny plus symbol next from write a message, press on that, and then you get more options. And one of them would be video. That's good. And that looks this way. So then here I wrote with Alex, who's somewhere there on the left-hand side as well. I shared him a video here in that room, and by video, why not? That works. Then he can see that. It's a bit more urgent, more appealing to have a video message compared to just writing. Disrupt the inboxes, get your points across in a sticky way. And also, these days when we work more virtual, video is accepted. And if you have a prospective customer who you didn't meet in person yet, every video is at least getting you one step closer into simulating real life. So I use this every now and then and really, really like that. But then when we look into the planning, so if we say in 2021, let's get more active. Let's think about, we have the profile done. We look into content that we know about how we do. I can, by the way, also help when it comes to different content formats, storytelling formats about that. I'm now creating a piece of content of the different content formats. But then when you have done this, is the question, when should you do that? Because we all get more and more busy. So for me, if I do just spend or invest 30 minutes per day, which is not in addition to your normal work, because it is basically replacing part of your current communication way. So first topic is established. So you would invite people into your network, and you can use templates. So I have about 10 different templates available in the sense of, for example, when Jacqueline, when you invited me to your BNI chapter, then I would invite those who I met there into my LinkedIn profile, into my LinkedIn network, and then I would have maybe a templated type of thanks for welcoming me in your BNI chapter today, and would be nice to connect with you. Something nice, personalized. Template this, change it, and away you go. So that is something what I do. Then I pay attention to find out who actually viewed the profile. If you don't have the premium version, we see only the last 5, but there's a graph that tells us about the growth. But at least if you want to know who actually saw the profile over the last 90 days, then the premium version has that. And of course, we need to respond to invitations. That was established, and on the topic of engage, in the 30 minutes per day, I can nurture my contacts to say that there is something what is ongoing and would like to tell you that I have this or that new program, and I just heard something that might fit into your challenge that you showed me last week. Here's a potential solution from somebody else. I can do that. I can also send birthday wishes, but maybe not to everyone. A birthday wish I would send to Jacqueline. We know each other quite well in the meantime. To Alicia, I would also send, But if I never met a person, and only because LinkedIn tells me that somebody there who's sitting in whatever country I'm connected with has a birthday, I really don't have a personal connection, then it's a bit too early for that. And of course, also here, create a short post outside of the plans that works as well. And then at the end, evolve, bring discussions further, suggest a call or meeting, and request referral to others. That also fits all in the 30 minutes. I think that should work. 30 minutes per day, and we are done on LinkedIn. Extensive writing. Let's say, imagine I want to write 2 or 3 posts. A LinkedIn post has 1,300 characters. If I want to do that, then I better write them in one go, 2 or 3, in one session in the week, instead of to go every time back in the mood of, I need to write content. Better to do batch writing. That works better. And even have a list of what you posted. You can copy the URL of each post. You might want to reuse something that you have done earlier, maybe under a different light. So that works as well. So that is my typical plan for that. The question, where do we find the time during the day? I squeeze it in because for me it's strategically important and it helps to bring my discussion forward. Particularly it also helps to find new people and contacts to be connected with. So these were the 3 topics I wanted to share with you. Any question further? Let me look into the chat about the timing. When about morning and lunch, coffee time. Good one. Morning, a lot of morning. Yeah, and surely you go in the batch when it comes to responding to everything. Yeah, that of course is possible as well. Interesting. So then it's nice. Thank you for all of the feedback in the chat. Really appreciate this. Adam, you wrote Friday afternoon. Well, before the pandemic, it would work because people would need to leave the office and go to home. Today, for those who are working in a home office, for them it's more difficult because you are at home the whole Friday and you really would like to stop. So then getting out of digital screen as fast as possible to be with the family seems to be more obvious. So then many people are losing engagement on the Friday afternoons. That's not so successful anymore as in the past. Yeah, Dimi, you write it on a Sunday. Then you have the rest of the week to simply engage with other people and respond to comments. Lovely. Really well done. So that is what Jacqueline's publisher Andrew also told about myself, because I've done exactly that using the Sunday evening for this one, and then to use the time wisely. Bob, yeah, different time zones. That makes sense. So Alicia, you just moved from your former New South Wales and Sydney-based network into WA, which is 3 hours. So then, of course, it's a different type of topic. My boss sits in the Toronto office. My head office is in Vancouver office. Vancouver is 5 hours different to us and 1 day the other direction. So time zones are important. So how can we do that? If I would like to write a post, for example, I'm sitting in Sydney. My audience would be maybe to a third in WA with 3 hours. They do not reach it directly when I post before work at 8 a.m. For them, it's 5. But what I can do to post it in my Sydney-based time zone, and then add people from that network, particular from those who I know that are active, write a comment in the post so that then these get engaged. And when it then pops up and somebody there, I would know some who are quite active on LinkedIn sitting in Perth, then the fact that they then engage with it, their network, local network spreads it further. Alternatively, you can really plan this out with a time zone that you can say you can post the value, as you mentioned, particularly on Hootsuite site, you can plan this accordingly. And what I sometimes would do for the different time zones, if I post something that fits into Perth before lunch, it might hit us after the lunch break. It will simply be quite good. As I have a large network in Europe as well, so then I pay attention to the time zone there as well. It's a bit finding out and playing, but it requires a bit of help to spread the words, engage with people in that particular time zone when then they are live. So I hope that answers this quite well. So what else would we have? Any other question before I move on? Does not look look like this at the moment. So then let's further go on. So what else? Next steps for this. So I've been talking quite a bit about what is possible on the LinkedIn side. So how can I help my network? So what I normally do, I'm often asked to just find out if I can provide some help to have a kind of discovery call, sometimes discovery meeting to also learn on my side from you. So then Shirley, when we started to work together, I really liked your huge experience in a not-for-profit space in different type of countries. So that I really like. That is a good approach to first start and find out if there's any way how I can help you. And I hope I've done finally. And then I would further go and I can help those who require help for refreshing the profile, which doesn't mean necessarily completely rewriting, but I can to change it from a CV style that many of us still have into a proper storytelling approach, either done for you or a kind of advisory approach. And then the next one is membership, which is my online course with more about it, including accountability, activities. Before talking about this one, it was just a question from Mandy, which I really like, about, I know you sent this to me, but let me repeat this. Or let me rephrase it. How can we ensure that content goes out properly to people who we want? There's various ways how we can achieve that. We can just natively only post as we want, or natively in a tool like Hootsuite. It's in that sense, the results are the same. And then we wait that somebody is engaging with that. There are ways how we can improve that. That I would, for example, say when I post about something about social media, and I know that I would like to reach a network in the UK, and I know that Dimi is an expert and knows so many people in social media over there, let's say agencies and so on, then I would maybe send her directly a message, hey, here, have you seen my new post? I think that's very relevant for your tribe. Can you please engage with this or even share that? And engaging, by the way, is better than sharing. So then she would potentially do this. And of course, returning the favor, I will do similar to her content, which is very good. So that is one way of doing this. That's a good way to do this. You can also, by the way, if you post content and then you take, as typically you add a picture, the content itself is limited of 1,300 characters. You do not want to waste too much space in putting 50 hashtags, you're not on Instagram, or to add plenty of people in it because it goes away from your text. But you can add people in the image. Sometimes you might even get a post where it's written that you've been part of it and you want it. Some people do this. So Mario Becker is a master in it to always add some 20 people on that. So that's fine. And then, of course, I get a lot of notifications about that. And then there is an illegal way. So there's something called engagement pods. So you can be member of a pod of plenty of people. So I got this offer for 100, 200, 300 people where you might even need to pay in that. Where only the idea of them is to bypass the LinkedIn algorithm so that it looks like a lot of engagement. Number one, it's against the LinkedIn terms of service. Number two, you recognize the behavior of those people because they have only limited time. They would like to comment on so many possible comments on posts, and they would write just, great, you rock, well done, good post. I don't want to have anyone posting or commenting this way on my post. I think the quality I produce is valuable enough that I earn a proper comment or no comment, but not just one-liners. That exactly is what these engagement pods do, what I don't like. If you are in a group of people, let's say my membership members in that sense, and we like and find out how the content works, then of course it's possible to engage with that, but not in a strict regular way that is against the decencies and which is leading into these one-line comments. Makes no sense. So I hope that answers about that. So, as you know, my last name, Habits, normally is written with a Z. I here have a program where I turned it into an S. I'm actually also writing, playing with the name, I'm writing about habits, good habits, bad habits, whatever we need to do to form new habits, typically on Sundays. And therefore, I created here my membership program. So what does it mean? I'm targeting particular small business owners, entrepreneurs, managing directors in different type of areas, coaching, consultants, finance, and so on. And I have an online course, which is 75 minutes, 4 modules, and plenty of lessons to get through these typical topics. I added an accountability group where we can then exchange content between ourselves, not only to post and gain followers, but also to get some kind of review and a critical eye on that. That might be quite good. And I start always with a free initial strategy session. And then also comes the action. What I do is, what you see 3 times A on the words, I love that. And I do a live coaching call every 3rd Monday. If need be, I can do office hours on demand. And from this year, I will start to put proper content awards. So those in my tribe who have the best content. And yeah, some of them who are here in the call already are quite well on that one. So Alicia, thank you. I see that you have a call, so that's fine. We'll get the recording afterwards. So on the access level, the course itself captures 4 topics. The challenge that we have in order to get more active, so personal brand, how we connect to the right level of people. We didn't talk about this today. Then the content topic, more in depth, commenting, curating, creating, where to find it, how to do it, and so on. And then how to convert, how to engage, how to establish, and how to elevate to the next level. So these are the topics that are part of the content. And also added cabinet. There's some more tools. I add more and more in it because I like creating slides and videos. That's part of that one. And how to get started. So that is the landing page for this. I have 2 levels of this one, just the membership with all of the content that I mentioned per month. And then the middle section would be including one-on-one 1 hour per month. But that I realized that's sometimes a bit draining out. So therefore, I had to increase the price on 15th of January. That's all in Aussie dollars. And then also for those who require help on the profile, then I can do this, which is of course more a one-off type of topic. And it's nice. So I learned as well from that. It's not just only me providing some kind of labor, but rather to find out how I can actually really help and get a reflection towards myself as well. So that's in that link that I will share with you. And actually even one more thing, and I really like creating and sharing what I know. So I looked into some topic. You see the slightly different logo on the bottom right that I never shared online so far before. There's one more thing what I now do. I create a new online course for affiliate marketers. So affiliate marketing would be if any of you would maybe have a tribe of people who have interest in refreshing the profile, then there's an affiliate commission in this. And affiliate marketing goes for many software products like Kajabi, what I use, and many others. There are people who are writing software reviews, and when you click on their link, because you thank them for getting all experience about what they share, then you don't get it maybe cheaper, but at least they get something for their work. So that's affiliate marketing. And there's many areas about this. So then I created this, particularly for those in high-ticket affiliate marketing, where we can add LinkedIn as an organic income stream. And that has a similar 4-topic: complete, connect, content, and convert. Even like right here, content in RSVP mode. RSVP as the term we know when we say yes to an event, from the French word responsible play. And here I mean show, and that can work for all of us. To have a kind of a circling type of content, not that we always write the same one. So first of all, it's results that we can write, not how much money we earn, but how we can help others. What does it lead to? Some kind of transformation from customers. The S would be for the style of living or lifestyle, but S I need for the RSVP that it works. V stands for value, to educate. And then P, I take it for perception, because I strongly believe in many industries that there is a perception and facts that's something different. So we need to work to turn a perception more into facts. So therefore, sometimes these different way of educating might be necessary. And then, of course, affiliate marketing is all about gaining some passive income. So I'm joined that industry a couple of months ago and really like to also get closer into LinkedIn with that. So coming on 18th January, got it, getting on that. So that's all what I wanted to show. We are in the meantime 564 members in my LinkedIn organic community on Facebook, where I share some content into the closed group, which and some others do as well, which I like a lot. It's not an engagement pod in that sense, but rather cheering up about when somebody has idea, what goes on LinkedIn. So that's what I wanted to share. We're actually just on the hour. Any question from anyone? So Caroline, thanks. You have to run. I see this. Same Alicia. That's fine. Thanks for joining and for also for collaborating, for adding some of your thoughts in it. Really like that. And also always nice to see faces here in the call who are now for a while already. And I know that some who didn't make it for today, they will surely get the recording, which I will post to all of you as long as you accepted my the way that I can send you emails on this. So then you will get the recording exactly at 7 a.m. Sydney time tomorrow morning. Yes, Adam, let's catch up in person soon. I would love to say this to Alicia and Dimi as well, but travel doesn't allow this at the moment. But thanks all of you for joining. I hope you can take something from that, and that is in any case helpful. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you.
Thanks, Gunnar. Bye.
Thanks, Gunnar.
Thanks, everybody. See you later. Thanks, Gunnar.
Thank you.
Take care.
Thank
Yeah.
you.
Bye.
Bye.
Yeah, bye everyone.
Bye-bye.
Thanks, Gunnar.